Greetings everyone. I am Dr. Vivek Bhaskar. I am a senior consultant working in the Vitreoretinal Services Department of Shaker Eye Hospital. I am here today on Facebook Live to speak about management of diabetic retinopathy and diabetic related eye disorders. So, as we know, diabetes is a modern day epidemic. Of course, any epidemic or a pandemic nowadays rings a bell, and it's a scary bell to listen to. But then again, we have to deal with situations, no way of running away from it or escaping from it. So, but still, awareness is more important. And when you have a certain amount of awareness, you are more well equipped to deal with the situation, and you're not afraid because, see, nowadays with the onslaught of information, both on TV as well as on online, what it has created is that there is a lot of fear regarding certain conditions, be it what we are going through today or diabetes or any other such medical conditions. But that is not the purpose, that is not the intention of giving the information. It is to create awareness so that the people can take better care of themselves, lead a healthier lives, and be of better good to the society. That is the whole purpose with which these kind of awareness programs are being held by various on various fora. So this is one such awareness creation drive from our hospital, Shaker Eye Hospital. And I hope at the end of this program, there will be a lot more information and awareness created amongst all of you so that you can take better care of yourself, so that you can lead a healthier life despite diabetes. Your eyes can be much better despite diabetes. So, right now, from now on, I'll be sharing my a few thoughts which I have penned. If you have any questions, you can always uh, put it on the chat box so that I can answer it either during the presentation or later. So, as I told you, the topic for today is how can we protect our eye from diabetes. So, as we know, diabetes is a modern day epidemic. It is it is the kind of a dragon which is, again, China is not the only dragon that we need to be concerned about from our east and northeast area. I mean, there is another dragon as well, which is probably engulfing uh, India. It is probably becoming the diabetes capital of the world because of various uh, factors. I would not want to go and bore you into those factors. Any physician or that, I mean, this kind of information is available on the net as well. So diabetes was always known as a disease of the rich, but as we see, there are many poor people or lower middle class people with lower socioeconomic status also getting affected, and the disease burden on such people is much more, not only because of the affection of the disease, but also due to the economic strain that it causes on the patient as well as on the family. So, being more aware about the disease as well as taking better care of ourselves can make our lives much better. So, as we know, diabetes can affect our eyes in various ways. A person who has a diabetes can have an earlier development of cataracts. So, like if there are two siblings, a brother and a sister, and one of the sibling has a diabetes, then the risk of that person developing a cataract is maybe 5 years or 10 years earlier when compared to a non-diabetic person with similar genes, similar environmental conditions and food and everything else could being the same. They can also develop diabetic retinopathy. There can be an association with glaucoma. Need not necessarily mean that diabetes directly causes glaucoma, but there can be an association with glaucoma. Diabetes, whether controlled or uncontrolled, can causes nerve paralysis, where the sometimes the mouth gets twisted. We cannot chew our food properly. Similarly, what affects the mouth or the tongue can also A similar nerve paralysis can affect the eyes, leading to ocular movement abnormalities, where it leads to sudden onset double vision. Like last night, the person was absolutely normal. The person gets up with slight headache, and then followed up with confusion and double vision wherever he or she sees there is double vision. They say they see two images leading to a lot of confusion and distress, and they come running to us in panic. These kind of nerve paralysis can happen. Diabetes also can cause a lot of dry eye, which leads to discomfort and irritation and things like that. It can also cause diabetic optic neuropathy, where one of the optic nerves can also get affected. So basically, I'll restrict my talk today to diabetic retinopathy. So how do you prevent diabetic retinopathy? So when is it suggested to go for a retinopathy screening or a preventive retinopathy checkup? So as we know, there are three types of diabetics. The first one is a type 1 diabetes, where a child or a young adult develops diabetes, and from the outset, from the beginning itself, they start requiring insulin. So, and in such individuals, from the time of diagnosis, the first checkup needs to be done by around 5 years of 5 years period. And since then, and from then on, it is annually. Every year, you need to keep checking your eyes. See, a proper diabetic eye checkup means putting drops, waiting for half an hour, and then doing a detailed evaluation. Without putting drops, a retinal evaluation will be very brief and not complete. So that cannot be, I mean, this is non-negotiable. A dilated retinal evaluation, I'm sure people who have visited an eye hospital or diabetics who have done their checkups would be quite familiar with this condition. So where we put drops twice or thrice over 10-15 minutes and then do the checkup. So this checkup is what I'm talking about. It's not just you just walk in and your glasses number are checked, your pressure is checked, and then you get out of the hospital. That is not the way. So this checkup has to be done 5 years after the diagnosis of a type 1 diabetic. But for a type 2 diabetics, where diabetes is diagnosed after 35, 40 years of age, and then initially the patient is on tablets, and then gradually he or she might require insulin. In those individuals, at the time of diagnosis, the first checkup is necessary. And since then on, if everything is fine, annually, that is every year. Otherwise, based on the condition of the retina, the doctor will suggest how frequently it needs to be done. If there is a new diabetes during pregnancy, or a diabetic lady becomes pregnant, every trimester, that is every 3 months during the pregnancy, the retina has to be evaluated. So this is gives us a good idea, because most of the retinal problems are cause irreversible loss of vision. So if you detect the condition at an earlier stage with a minimal treatment, we can save a lot of vision. So don't, I mean, what are the signs and symptoms of diabetic retinopathy? What should be one looking for? Uh, the most commonest would probably be gradual deterioration of vision. Slowly the vision keeps deteriorating, and since most of the individuals are in the like beyond 50 years of age group, they think that it is due to cataract. And we can do the checkup later. There is no urgency. There is a graha pravesha at home, or my daughter is getting married, or there is some important event at home, so I'll postpone the uh, visit to the doctor, because it's anyway cataract. I can deal with it later. No, but if it is retinopathy and you're losing vision out of it, you might not regain what you've lost. So even if it is cataract and you want to postpone it, confirm it with the doctor and then do it. Although we would not suggest delaying that as well, but nevertheless, a gradual deterioration of vision in that age group need not necessarily be only cataract. We need to be aware that it can be diabetic retinopathy. Individuals can have reading difficulty. So generally in the retired age group, most people are into a lot of reading and writing, which takes away most of their time. And although they can see stuff, it becomes more and more difficult progressively to read comfortably. They can see the images, but it appears as though the letters are all mingled with each other. They also find it difficult to recognize faces whenever they go for a walk, either in the morning or evening or both the times. Familiar people, until they come very close, you do not recognize them, because of which, in a very kind of intermingling society like ours, it leads to a lot of social distress. Like, I couldn't recognize my dear friend, and he felt bad, and he called up, and he or she really scolded me and things like these are the things complaints that I have come across from many of my patients. So difficulty in recognizing faces and features in their faces also is a common complaint. You can also have distorted vision. Straight lines start appearing wavy. Sometimes when the condition is advanced, or there is poor diabetes or blood pressure control, it can also lead to sudden loss or severe loss of vision, where one fine day you just wake up and one small kind of a drop starts pouring in, and gradually the whole eye gets covered within no time, and your vision is very blurred, and you probably have to hold someone's hands to even go to the restroom or the toilet. The most worrying thing that one need to be, I mean, not worrying, but cautious, is that it can be, the diabetic retinopathy can reach an advanced stage despite being asymptomatic. That person can have 6 by 6 vision with reasonably good driving vision and all that, but they can still reach that advanced stage. So this is how a normal retina looks like. Many people who might have visited me would have been familiar with this kind of photograph. I always make it a point to show the photograph and explain to them what is happening. So here, as we see, this is the photograph of the right eye retina. The whole red thing is the retina, and the central circle over there is called the optic nerve, which connects the eye to the brain. The lines arising out of the optic nerve are the blood vessels, in which we can see in our arms and legs, where we draw blood and give injections and all that. The central brown spot is from which we see clearly. This is how a normal retina should look like. Now, you can probably see these images, which are at various stages of diabetic retinopathy. As we see, the first image shows a few red spots here and there with occasional yellow spots. The number of yellow spots and the red spots are a little bit more in another patient. You can see a drop of blood in the third image, and the fourth image, the bleeding has increased, which has lead to significant loss of vision. If left untreated, it can reach to this level where the vision will be really very, very poor. In this patient, vision would probably be around 5% of normal. So, not to be worried. I mean, the progression of the disease from the first stage to this stage will probably take around 2-3 years. So that is how, I mean, if you get it checked timely, we can see you at any of these earlier stages and give you a minimal treatment and prevent you from reaching this stage ever in your life. So the timing is very important. So as I tell repeatedly to my patients, in retina, the timing is very crucial. We lose the timing, there is no boundary, there is no six, we might get out. So how to detect diabetes? Diabetic retinopathy is quite easy to detect. There are clinical methods wherein we use our instruments to see the inside of the eye after putting drops. And then there are a few investigations that can be done called as OCT, or optical coherence tomography, and fluorescent angiography. Based on these tests, once we have made a diagnosis of diabetic retinopathy, we also decide how to treat, how to go about managing these conditions. So, what are the treatment options? The basic treatment would be a laser. Laser is a form of powerful light energy. So the light has power. It is packed with power. It is put into the retina, so that the leaking blood vessels are closed, and the vision is preserved. We can also give a lot of injections either into the eye or around the eye. Eye is like a ball, so we can give injections either into it or around it, based on the condition or the severity of the problem. Surgery can be done in advanced cases. If you see, this is one of the photograph that I showed you earlier, and the second photograph is of the same patient after the surgery. So this patient recovered useful vision. He was, I think he was practically a blind person, very difficult to move around. But once the surgery was done, at least inside the house, he was able to move around and read big letters. We cannot create miracles and give you back your vision which was there at the age of 20 years or 15 years, but definitely we can make your life a lot more manageable even in advanced cases. So I would like to conclude my slides by saying that, as I told you earlier in the presentation as well, it is important to be aware and not afraid, not scared. So diabetic retinopathy is treatable. Timely treatment is crucial. But one thing you need to remember is treatment is not one time. It's just not you come, get it treated either once laser or one injection and go away thinking that everything will be fine for the rest of my life. No. You have to be under regular checkup, keep your diabetes under good control, and as and when required, one or two treatments here and there should be able to keep you comfortable. Useful vision can be saved. I have been working at Shekhar Eye Hospital for almost like 15 years now, and I have had patients who have had a regular follow-up for the last 15 years. And I can safely say that we have been able to maintain good vision over the period of 15 years. That is only when people come to us regularly and get treatments timely. So it is going to be a long-term relationship. It's not like a T20 match where you come, bam, 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 you hit 4 6s and then finish and go and have dinner. No, it's not like that. It's going to be a test match where you keep on at it. You look for long innings. You are planning to do a long treatment and things like that. So if you still have any questions, you can visit us at www.shekharayehospital.com. We are also present on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Insta. So I would like to probably see if there are any questions from my side. I mean, from the audience. So let me see if there are any questions. Okay, yeah. So there are a few questions that I've got. I'll probably take them one by one. So the first question is, does diabetic retinopathy lead to blindness? So that is one, kind of very question which comes to everyone's mind. The moment we say that, okay, you've been affected by diabetes, people start panicking. I've even seen people like fainting in my consultation room. That is because they're so scared about the whole term called diabetic retinopathy. Like I highlighted in my presentation, it's not about fear. It's about you need to be aware that yes, it is going to cause problems, but timely treatment and regular follow-up, and most importantly, good diabetes control can preserve useful vision for a very, very, very long time. In my experience, what I've seen is the diabetes retinopathy can flare up once or twice, and that flare, that intensity of the problem can remain for 6 months to 1 year, 1.5 years. If you manage the treatment during that period of time, that crucial period of time, then for the rest of their lives, the useful vision can be preserved with very, very minimal treatment once in a while. So diabetic retinopathy need not necessarily lead to blindness. So you need to be very positive about it. Don't be worried. Doctors across the world with their information and expertise can manage diabetic retinopathy and keep your vision preserved for a very, very long time. So that answers the second question as well. How scared should I be of diabetic retinopathy? I always tell them, with respect to everything or anything, don't be scared. Be aware, take due precautions, take necessary steps, trust in the doctor and God, and it will all work out for you. And I've also answered this third question: how frequently should I get my eye checkup done? I would reiterate that type 1 diabetics or insulin dependent diabetics, 5 years from the time of diagnosis, and then henceforth, if everything is fine, annually, or based on the affection of the retinopathy, the doctor would advise. And type 2 is at the time of diagnosis itself, you have to get it checked. Even if your diabetologist or physician forgets to remind you, you can yourself come and get it checked on your own. the physician also would be very happy to know that you have taken the initiative to get it checked. And of course, during pregnancy, every trimester. So, is diabetic retinopathy and glaucoma related? Yes, it's not related directly, but glaucoma, in almost 40% of patients, diabetes is a common risk factor. And very rarely, in very advanced conditions, diabetic retinopathy can cause glaucoma, very, very advanced cases. So that would probably constitute around less than 5% of the cases. And then, is there a difference between diabetics on insulin and diabetics on other medicine? Of course. So, an individual who has been on tablets for a very long time, when shifted to insulin, there are a lot of changes which happen during in the body. So, briefly, the conditions can worsen. I mean, the whole purpose of shifting over from tablets to insulin was that it was not under control. So, obviously, there will be some complications in the eye, but if managed well, it can lead to a good outcome. So there is no major difference, but in that transition period, when you shift over from tablets to insulin, there can be a slight difference. But otherwise, the most important thing is either insulin or tablets or insulin or Ayurvedic or homeopathic or yoga or naturopathy, whatever you do, if your diabetes is under control, that is what is most important. Are diabetic eye problems hereditary? They, I mean, if diabetes is hereditary, which we see, it is not exclusively hereditary. It is like various factors. It's your environment, the way you, the diet that you consume, the lifestyle that you lead. So, which, because most of them are similar. I mean, I do what probably my dad did for a very long time, and probably looking at me, my son or daughter will also probably do the same thing. So, similar risk factors will be there, and hence it manifests as though it is absolutely hereditary, but it's not that. The environmental factors are the one which are more important. We can always, at our level, we can always change the environmental factors. We don't have to be sedentary like maybe our earlier generations were. I mean, I don't want to judge them because they were having a lot of difficulties. Now that the economy has opened up and we are all in a better position when compared to 40 years earlier, we can also focus on different aspects of our lifestyle and try to be more healthier and fitter, and by which we can probably alter the course of the diabetes to a certain extent and counter the dragon that I showed you earlier. And again, this is another question: is it one-time treatment or to be treated forever? It's neither of them. It's neither a one-time treatment nor forever. You have to be under regular checkup, and as and when required, a little bit of treatment here and there can help manage the vision. And what about kids? Any specific precautions? So obviously, type 1 diabetics, the children are known to be diagnosed as diabetics as early as 5 years of age. And I have a few kids who have grown up during my checkups. So over 15 years, I've seen a boy who was like 9 years now, is finishing his engineering and joining job and coming for a pre-employment certificate. So I've seen the whole thing. So there are no specific precautions for kids as such. Just good diabetes control, good hygiene. Don't scare the kid as much. Let the kid enjoy his childhood, his or her childhood. But I mean, it is probably a little bit more demanding on the parents until to a certain extent. But kids are so remarkable. They are so they are so understanding that over a period of time, they take to the disease and its modifications better than many adults. So, and Arun, there is a question: how to control sugar levels without medicines? See, I generally divide basic diabetes management into three parts. That's what I tell my patients regularly, and that's what I believe also. If you consider 100%, 33% will be diet, 33% will be lifestyle, and 33% will be medicines. And medicines, the last 33% will work well only when the first 66% is doing well. So we have to consume a good diet, a carbohydrate rich diet, where like most of us South Indians would probably consume a lot of rice. North Indians will probably take wheat. North Karnataka people will probably consume more of jolad roti. They are all rich in carbohydrates. Even ragi mudde is also a carbohydrate-rich food. So all that, I mean, when if you say that I have consumed 100 grams of food here, probably 85 to 90 grams will be carbohydrates. Very little of fibers and proteins and other nutrients. We have to alter that equation. We have to consume a lot of fiber, a lot of proteins. That is one part of it. The second part of it is lifestyle. Most of it, most of us before Corona, at least, we were like running in a rat race and do not know where our destination was. Now that Corona has come with all the lockdown and time and all that, we have probably have had time to reflect upon what we were doing, and is it really necessary to run this race forever, and where were we heading, and all these questions probably would have come to most of us. And based on that, we would have realized that it is not necessary to actually stress ourselves out death forever. So take it easy, do things which you are happy about, indulge in a lot of physical activities, because there are proof or evidence to say that whenever a person indulges in something of a physical activity, be it even a simple walk or a run or a badminton or shuttle or swimming, cycling, whatever you want to do, when it creates a lot of hormones in the brain, which improves your mood for the rest of the day. Even though your bodily you're feeling tired, it improves your mood and reduces your stress levels, because of which the management of diabetes is much easier. So then comes the third part of it, which is medicines. If the first two are doing well, many a times the medicines will be minimally required, or you might require the medicines 5 years down the line or 10 years later, which is also very important. So 5 years, 10 years in a lifespan of 75 years is definitely worthwhile doing it. So don't consider it as a what do you call, waste of money. When you invest it on fitness or diet, it is not waste of money, it's investing in yourself. And then medicines and doctors like us will also help, and we'll also take over. So I think that's it. I've come to the end of all the questions. I hope there are no more questions. If there is anything at all, you can definitely log into our website, as well as any of the Facebook, YouTube, or Insta profiles of our hospital. Put forward any more questions that you have, and we'll be very happy to answer that, and also take care of your eyes with respect to diabetes and other things. Thank you so much. Again, it's Dr. Vivek here from Shekhar Eye Hospital, signing off. Have a good day and stay safe.